And welcome back to Project Iowa. Today on the show, we are going to take a close look at a handful of Iowa historical photos and try and figure out what all this funny business is with the electrical wires. Stay tuned. So we'll start today with this picture here. If you look right there in the center, there's what appears to be a light fixture levitating in the air. You can see how much darker it is, and the church kind of stands out as if it was possibly superimposed onto the image. But we don't see any wires holding this, presumably a light fixture. We don't see any wires holding it up. Kind of zoom out, and we see a power pole, but we don't see any wires coming from the power pole to the light. So a very strange place to put a light fixture, extremely difficult to service, and again, how it is suspended there is very strange, very mysterious. Moving on to this photo here, we have another one of these. Is it supposed to be a light fixture? I don't know, but here we have it very obviously not being held up by anything. And again, it's just jet black. It seems to contrast with all the other shades from everything else in the photo. And when we look at that power pole closer to the church, we can see lines. We can see what is drawn in to look like power lines. So again, just like that last photo, we have a mysterious light fixture in the middle of nowhere and no sign of anything holding it up. But if we look at that light pole, we can see wires in this photo. It's not that the wires were too hard to see. You can see them. So we can see wires. You can't just say, oh, they were invisible, they were transparent. And now these wires that are on the power pole, if you look close to them, they are attached to nothing. And it gets worse. It appears that those wires are also drawn in. You see how there's that droop there, how they're kind of sag down and are see-through, as if they're attached to something higher up, very close. They wouldn't have a sag like that. I don't know why they would be transparent wires either. Again, more clear signs of photo manipulation. And if we look further down into the picture, the closest thing we see to another power pole is down there, and you can see that those wires just don't extend to it. So what is going on? Why do these two pictures, these two postcards from Grundy Center, have these strange light fixtures hovering in the air with no wires attached to them? Light fixtures situated in an extremely impractical location to utilize or even service. We see these lights dangling in an area where they would not need to be illuminated. And it gets worse. Here we have another photo with one of these light fixtures and more tomfoolery with the wires. And when we look close, we can see that the wires very much look like pen strokes, a sloppy forgery. And you can see they just connect right to the light fixture. Not only are they not straight, the angles don't add up for something that is being suspended from them. That one on the right is taut and straight, while the one on the left kind of angles up. So between those wires, if those wires were holding weight, they wouldn't be crimped. They wouldn't be bent like that. So not only are they holding weight, but they would have current going through them, warming them, softening them, making it even more hard for those crimps to be in a wire that's dangling, holding weight. So the wires look scribbled in. They look like they're drawn in, just attached right to the side of that light fixture. And when we look close, we see more chicanery with this wire situation. All different directions, different tensions, drawn in and just drawn up to a line, not really attached to anything. So here we have another historic Iowa photo with one of these strange light fixtures dangling in the middle of nowhere. This one, they tried to draw in wires for whatever reason, but that is very obviously a manipulated photo. And what do you know? It happens again. Another historic Iowa photo with one of these strange, nonsensical, and mysterious light fixtures, as well as an excessive amount of wires that don't seem to be coherent. Which brings us to Independence, Iowa. Now, I found this picture here, presumably from an old page of a newspaper posted by the Historical Society. And you zoom in and you can tell that the people don't look real. The picture doesn't look real. And here we have Bruce and Jeff standing still, saying cheese, posing for the camera. Keep them in mind for later. And here we have another photo from Independence. You can see it looks very similar to this other one, but the thing that caught my attention initially in this is how those wires just kind of go off and attach to the bridge. And this is when I started paying close attention to the wires and lights in old Iowa photos, because the closer you look, the more you see that they go off into the distance, they're scribbled in, they don't make sense. And these light fixtures that seem to hang effortlessly in random areas. Well, when we put these two photos side by side, we can see that, well, yeah, these wires and this fixture was edited in. And so by now, I hope you are asking why. Why not just take a picture? Why not just document a day in the life of Main Street, Independence, Iowa in 1907? Which is a much larger discussion, asking questions like, why were they adding things in? Why were they taking things out? Were they hiding something? Were they trying to present something as having happened that didn't? All very valid and necessary questions, which we will get into in part 2 of this episode. Stay in tune.